And well, thank you very much, Marta. Thank you, everyone, having organized this wonderful event to have me. Well, I'm doing maybe dealing a little bit with technicalities. I'm old school lawyer, thinking the law is more or less about what is in the law, but never mind. And so I decided to focus on, together with Marta, of course, she's the boss, to focus on production process. Why? Because I think it's, law is made through processes, dynamics. There are, in a way, different priorities. And I think that, it is clear. Sustainable procurement is something that is really worth. Previous speaker was, as usual, as she is usually quite eloquent in pushing the case. But then, of course, you have the lawyers coming in with the little rules. You know what Martin Luther was saying about lawyers. Juristen böse Christen. They are bad Christians. Why? Because first, they complicate things, and second, they complicate it even more if they are well paid by someone who wants them to be complicated. And so this is something we must do. This is something for as Prince Charles said yesterday in New York, this is something that we are going to do for our grandchildren. And I don't have any grandchildren so far, but so he must know what he's talking about. And again, lawyer, sorry. One issue, sticking point, has been about production processes. Are they relevant? Are they not relevant? And this has been really quite a clash in the EU. Starting on one hand with the Commission. Well, I'm quoting Abby's book. Her book is going to be out next week. It's just, I had the preview, and it's just really incredible. It makes public procurement law something that is accessible, not something that you want to go to sleep after 2 pages or even less. And, okay, Commission. Abby says that at times it is having wilder internal market fantasies. The worst, this book is really, it's brilliant, never mind. So they were saying, no, we don't want production process to be taken into account. Why? Because then you choose some producer, you discriminate among producers using other processes. And Commission people, pity there is no one, they are quite stubborn. I mean, when they think that they have something, they stick even if they are overruled by the Court of Justice until it is very clear. So there was that case on renewable energy. And Court of Justice say, yes, you can decide to prefer renewable energy. And what is the difference between energy and renewable? It's only the production process. But the Commission thought about something which I think it was, they said, oh yeah, this is not the production process, this is the substance of the energy. And they spoke about something like material substance. A strange word. We will go back to this. But then we had a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, the Max Havelaar case. Oh, that was about sustainability, labeling, you were talking about this, and social labeling, by the way. And the Court of Justice was quite clear, yes, public buyers, most of you, must take into consideration the production process, not the general policy of the seller, not whether they are behaving well generally, but that they behaved well when they produced the specific product that you are going to buy. Okay? So this was game changer. This is an area that if you see the proposal of the Commission, it was not much, then you see the end result is a lot of new things, and this because of Max Havelaar. So going to the new directive, we have this idea of life cycle, and this includes also the manufacturing, the way things are manufactured, and this goes out in Article 67 about contract award criteria. I don't know, I should have a look maybe when Albert's blog goes on, when you arrive to the implementation of the provision that's going to be interesting, because this is really something that I can't understand what they meant. I can't understand what they meant because it's so, let's say, involuted. It's just a bit crazy, but what they see, this is what is relevant here is that, yes, you can refer to the life cycle, to the full life cycle of a product. And you can also, and this is specifically written here now, take into account factors including the specific process of production. This is really putting in the law what before it was uncertain. And there is this thing, even where such factors do not form part of their material substance. I think this is, at times our laws, regulations are so long because besides providing on what you can do or what you cannot do, they also need to say that, okay, there is something that is totally irrelevant. Why you need to say that something is irrelevant? Because the Commission for 20 years told us that it is relevant. Of course, material substance is irrelevant, which is culturally is a bit of a pity because the Commission was using Aristotelic thinking categories. Something right out from the Middle Age to distinguish things that couldn't not be distinguished. But so now is that. And this makes life easier for buyers, for practitioners, up to a point. Because then, of course, you have the definition of a life cycle. And this, again, is quite at the core of the new directive, Article 68. And there is a nice distinction between costs borne by the contracting authority. Of course, these are part of what the contracting authority is considering, but also you can consider costs inputted to environmental externalities linked to the product, service, or works. And such costs may include costs of emissions of greenhouse gases, other pollutant emissions, and other climate change mitigation costs. Now, it is clear you can do that. And this, of course, is important because you don't want to have that much regulatory risk, and some of the regulatory risk has been taken away, but still there is some regulatory risk because then the law goes into more details about these methodologies. And there is first the idea that these things you need to be to monitor them. This is something that you can keep under control. The case about green energy was that there was no way to monitor it the way it was built, but there is also this idea that this must be monetized. And I think this is where the difficulties, or possibly a business line for technicians, will develop in the future. A way to monetize these externalities, this kind of costs. And we don't have much experience so far. There is something in the directive about vehicles, which is, in this case, is not something that you can do. This is something that you must do. But it is not really something very easy. What we can expect in the next, let's say, 10 years is a lot of work trying to develop these methodologies, but also cases. You will still need the lawyers trying to say what is acceptable, what is objective, what is transparent, and what is not. So, in the end, just to conclude, okay, now production processes. You can take them into account, of course, provided you forgot to say that you don't try to localize them too much. There was a nice Swiss case a few years ago, and that was about collection of, let's say, household waste and transport to the, let's say, treatment plant. And in their work criteria, they put, let's say, quite a lot of emphasis on the distance between the town, was where the waste had to be collected, and the treatment plant. And they say, okay, this is environment. The longer the lorries have to travel, the more they pollute. Well, it didn't withstand judicial review in Switzerland because they consider, okay, lorries collecting waste. When are they polluting? When they are on the motorway, or rather when they are collecting the waste in town, just driving very low gear, stopping without putting out the engine and things like that. So you must also consider this aspect. And this honestly is going to be quite a challenge, but still, I'm saying it is going to be difficult. It is going to be at times contentious, but honestly, I think this is something that we must put our energies in, because I don't have grandchildren so far. I have children anyway, and I really look forward for, let's say, well, it will take ages for grandchildren and everything. Well, my older child is 3 years and a half, so I hope it takes his time before making me a grandfather. But still, honestly, we all need to work on this, and this is not just for the lawyers. It is quite a lot for the contracting authorities, but it's also for consultants, for people who really know the technology, the mathematics, the science behind this kind of calculation. Thank you very much, and sorry for maybe I took just. Thank you.